Hello, everybody, and thank you for attending this first demo of the year 2022. My name is Matthew Freeman, and I'm really happy to welcome you in this year 2022. Wish you the best, all that kind of things. And today we're here for the public PrestaShop demo, first of the year, which is about the last month of last year. Well, let's start right now. Okay, today there will be two of us. There will be me, and I will be accompanied by Tatu Wickman, who is a PrestaShop contributor and have accepted to come and present one of his last contributions to the PrestaShop project. So big thanks to him. We will welcome him on stage very soon. Today we're going to watch this. So right now I'm doing the introduction. There will be a small announcement, well, nothing new. So there was a demo about the new front office theme that we are working on, and we are really excited about it. Unfortunately, one of the people who was supposed to present it could not attend today. It was a last minute issue. So we prefer to postpone this demo to next month because we really want to allow him to present his work, like, because he's proud of it, so it will be a lot better. So yeah, not today, but maybe next month. There will be two demos then. One by me, I will be present the work of Jean-François Viguet about enabling SVG shop logo on PrestaShop 8, and Tatu Wickman will present his work about managing configuration from CLI in PrestaShop 8.2. Right, so before we start, a little reminder as usual, please use the chat to ask questions. There's a little delay, so don't wait until the end of the stream to post your questions. We'll be just post it when you know about it, and it will be easier for us to read it and answer it. This event is about the PrestaShop open source project, so PrestaShop company is off topic. Obviously, this event is public and recorded, as you can see, and the record will be available later. And all of us must abide by the code of conduct of the PrestaShop project as usual. Right, we can move on to the announcements. Well, you probably saw it last year. It's funny to say last year. Last month, we released PrestaShop 1782 on the 7th of December 2021. And this is a security release which fixes a vulnerability. You can look up to the CVE, and we strongly recommend to upgrade, obviously. And it also fixes one regression. That's all. Well, since this was the last month of the year, it was quite a slow month. A lot of people were enjoying some time off, so we don't have a lot of things to say. Moving on to the demos, I will start first with SVG logos, which are now supported in PrestaShop 8. So this topic is quite interesting to demo because when you want to add, the question behind is, what does it take to add a new image format support in PrestaShop? Like tomorrow you want to add new format support. What does it mean? First, when you want to do this, you have to consider, can I use it for product pictures? Can I use it for thumbnails? Can I use it for category pictures? Can I resize it? Can I use it for shop logo, which is the topic of today? Can I embed it into a PDF? So when you want to use a new image format inside PrestaShop, many questions arise and you need to find an answer for them. And we had a problem with SVG because we use inside PrestaShop the PHP-GD library for image manipulation, mainly resizing. And this library did not support SVG, so for a long time we thought, okay, we cannot have SVG without changing the underlying library. This was before we received this nice pull request from Jean-François Viguet, who maybe will be watching this later, so I salute him. And actually, he had a smart way to solve the issue. He said, hey, this is SVG, right? So SVG, you don't need to resize them. So you don't have to be limited by the library issue. You just don't resize it. And that's all. So thanks to this pull request now, we have SVG shop logo being supported in develop branch, which will become PrestaShop 8. That being said, SVG is a format a little bit unique, so there is two limitations. The first one is it's not usable in PDF yet. I believe there is some things to be done, and maybe there is even a pull request available right now being in progress. But also, the shop logo is being sent into the emails, obviously, and it's not usable in mails because, unfortunately, SVG support is not very good for a lot of email clients nowadays. I hope it will change in the future. So I believe in the PR, what's being done is that if there is a logo before, it still uses the old format, which is a lot better supported than SVG. Okay, that was all about this one. So I'm now going to stop sharing my screen and I will invite Tatu on the screen. Hey.
Hello, and hi from me also. Yeah, I was asked for having a small presentation about this small addition I made for the new PrestaShop version, like just for managing the configuration values from the CLI. And this was mainly done for our own reasons. Why would you want to manage? Actually, does the screen change? No. Yeah, there. Okay, thanks. Why would you want to manage the configuration from the CLI? Well, the main thing is I'm really lazy. I don't want to log into the shop. I want to just say something and it updates the values. And this is something that can easily automate it when using the CLI. And as I mostly live in the CLI, then it's a good thing to have the command to do the configuration changes. I took some inspiration from Nextcloud's OOC config command. There's a link. I hope that these links and this presentation will be available after the presentation is done so that you can click on it and don't have to write it from there. And then one of the proprietary e-commerce platforms that I've been doing quite a long time, and it has get and set commands for like everything. Like everything is an object, and you can get and set everything just from the CLI. And we needed to have an easy way to get mail catcher running when you get up a new server and want to test email things. You need to have the mail catcher settings set up, and this was something that we wanted to automate. So basically, it's very simple, just one command, docker, like a pin console PrestaShop config get, and then the key that you want to get. Now here is the PSLang default, the default language for the shop, and it returns you the value, like the value is 1. And you can also set it to something else, like just set and value something, and that will also work. Of course, there's quite a lot of things to handle with this. You need to have the language support. If you have a configuration values that are language dependent, in the shop and shop group supports, and all of those things are handled in the command. You need to just define the shop group that I want to set for this shop group, this value for this setting. And how was it done? Well, basically, Symfony Commands does the heavy lifting for the CLI stuff. It gives you all the -- help and verbose mode and so on. And on PrestaShop side, there's the shop configuration interface, and then there's the two helpers like shop constraint and language data provider that can be used to make the configurations with the shop constraints and with the languages. So there's a link to the pull request that implemented the command, and also the documentation for the command, because that's something that always needs to be taken care of also. There's no point on having a command if nobody knows that it's there. And while I was implementing this command and testing it, there's also another pull request for how to run code coverage when you have a tests for your command and you want to see how much of your tests really test the thing. And there's a pull request for handling the documentation on how to run the code coverage. It's still waiting for approval. But now after those were done, now we can easily set the mail catcher configuration for our PrestaShop. Like set up a PrestaShop and then just 2 commands, and then you can start testing with mail catcher. Very easy. And there's some more. We also added a debug mode command. That's easy way to set and unset debug mode. And that's also implemented and documented. Things that I learned and what was decided while building these commands was that the CLI commands don't need to be translated. This was something that was not decided before, and my first implementation actually had the translations, but then during the review of the pull request, it was decided that it's not necessary to translate all the information from the CLI commands. The idea is that the people who are using the CLI commands, they probably will know English and can use it as their language for implementing something like this. I'm Finnish myself, but I can still use English quite well with this. Always add tests for your things with code coverage. It will tell you that there are things that you haven't tested, and then you can write more tests. And yes, your test cases will probably be more lines of code than your implementation of the thing. And one thing then I was building the documentation for the command, and I was thinking, okay, we have, I don't know, 20, 30 commands in PrestaShop, and all of those already have the help option. That option could be used for writing a small script that could automate the documentation for the commands for the DevDocs side. So that's something that could be done later. So what else? What next? I would like to add a list all configuration keys option, but that requires changing the core. There is actually one not implemented method inside PrestaShop that is like all the configuration keys. And also it would be nice to have a like a dump configuration that could dump all the configuration values into a JSON or YML or something, and also a load configuration that could make like keeping Q&A server and the production server, like you could test everything in Q&A, dump configuration, and load it in the production. Might be useful, not sure, maybe. And few more commands like reset employee password. If you don't have the admin, like the last admin user password, email sending doesn't work or anything else, you could just from the CLI, let's like say, set this new password for this user. And also because the other system that I've been using, the proprietary one, that has a nice export import for objects. You can export one product or all products or one category or all categories or one customer or whatever. That would be really nice to have a like feature for importing and exporting objects into YML, JSON, whatever, XML. And maybe some fixer scripts. Like I've seen some issues and reports about database indexes not being correct, which can slow down your shop quite a lot. So maybe some kind of checker that checks that is everything okay. Maybe a cleaner for old log entries that could be then put into a cron job that could clean up everything and that kind of things. Might be quite a few things that could be done. Yep, that was my last slide.
Thank you so much. Really nice idea, and I think it's really cool that you mentioned them, because maybe some people in the YouTube audience today will be interested in joining, because they might want to give us a hand, and maybe you shared some nice ideas and that I find useful. This presentation will be shared in the YouTube comments just after the demo. So yes, people will be able to just click on the links. And I was just thinking that when you mentioned another platform where you can import, export everything, don't know if for this one, but I believe, for example, Odoo, ODOO,
Yeah.
is a platform where you can do this. You can just set and modify any objects from the click.
Yeah, I know Udo has at least some things that you can do there, but I'm not sure if it's everything. I haven't used that much.
The documentation says everything. I didn't check everything.
Okay.
All right, so I'm checking the YouTube comments, and apart from some people saying that you are amazing, I don't see any questions. So maybe we're going to wait a little bit to see if someone has a question. Else, well, it will be the end of this little session.
Yeah, this was a bit on a shorter side with just two of us.
It's the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
There was the holidays just before, so hopefully February will be a lot more things to announce. Okay, I don't see any question popping, so I believe we can thank everybody. We can thank you especially for being there today. There's one question from Daniel. I believe I can put it on the screen.
Using the console by web service. I don't know. Does Symfony support something like that?
So you'll be calling the console by actually, I believe maybe not the console directly, but the command, the logic behind. Yeah, it could be done on the web service too. Just a web service where you can get and set everything. But maybe, I don't know, when you're on the server, I assume if you are on the server, so you're an authorized user, modifying configuration using the web, I feel a little bit less comfortable by doing that. You need to make sure that people who can do this, you trust them.
Yeah, and actually the code that does the changing of the configuration value, it's like 1 or 2 lines of code. It calls the shop configuration interface methods for setting and getting the values. Most of the code is like just for handling the CLI, like checking the input values and building all the configuration for the CLI command. So basically, adding this to the web service would be writing all the web service specific things and then just calling the few configuration methods, configuration interface methods. Maybe. But then again, like changing the shop domain configuration value through a web service might be a bit difficult. At least you would like lose access to the shop after changing the configuration value. And okay. I know that you can like shoot yourself in the foot quite badly with the configuration value setting. If you set the, for example, if you set the PS lang default to a value that is not valid, it's not checked because the configuration interface does not check if the value is valid. Like 2 is a valid value, but if you don't have language number 2, then the shop will not work. So doing something like that via web service where you cannot go back might be a bit difficult.
Okay, thank you for the great answer. We have another question, not related to the demo. When WebP will be supported for PrestaShop products images? So I was looking at the GitHub repository because I know that in PrestaShop 8 there is some support for WebP. I will be sharing a pull request that was merged about this. However, I see there's some discussion going on inside the issue. So maybe it's not supporting everything, but yeah, some things have been added for WebP, maybe not a full image support, but we'll find the answer either inside the pull request or inside the issue discussion I'm going to also add. Well, and I do believe, I think we can also invite Pablo, who just mentioned something. Do you want to come on stage, Pablo? Just adding Pablo because he just mentioned something interesting.
Hi there. Yeah, well, I only wanted to take the opportunity to remind people of an article that we published a couple weeks ago in December, announcing the new PrestaShop 8. What is going to happen to PrestaShop 1.7 in the future? The differentiation between the company and the open source project. If you haven't read it, I strongly suggest you to have a look. I'm going to share the link here in the comments as well. So please read it, send us your thoughts, especially about the release roadmap for the future regarding minor and major versions, which we are planning to release um, um, like in a TikTok way, like major then minor then major then minor. Send us your thoughts. We really want to be doing this with the community and not just imposing our view. So we are looking forward to your comments about that. So 1.8 for I see a question there. When PrestaShop 1.8 will be online? There will be no 1.8. The next version will be called just 8 because the 1 doesn't mean anything. And for now, we're targeting release this summer. We have an issue. If you go to our repo, at the top of the issues, you will see 3 issues, release 8. I'm going to give you the link as well so that you can track it. And in that issue, you will see, you'll find the link to the milestone, to the epic, to the Kanban, to the estimated date of feature freeze and the estimated date of release. So subscribe to that issue if you want to be informed of the progress of the version, because we'll be updating that issue as with the development progresses.
And well, I guess that if you want PrestaShop 8 to happen as soon as possible, you can always help us. Just pick some of the topics inside the roadmap, because until we've done all the items inside the roadmap, we can't release it, and help us build it together so it will be quicker. Okay, I believe we went some nice round of questions. Thank you again, everybody, both in the YouTube audience, Tatu also, Pablo, and we will be happy to see you next month on YouTube again. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.